me put this on. Good afternoon. My name is Priscilla Rojas, and I am the Chair of the BPDA Board. Thank you for joining the February 12th, 2026 Economic Development and Industrial Corporation of Boston Annual Board Meeting. At this time, the Boston Planning and Development Agency is hosting public meetings in a hybrid setting for the health, safety, and accessibility of Boston residents. Hybrid means that our board meetings are conducted in person at City Hall, in our boardroom on the 9th floor, and virtually via Zoom and on Boston City TV. For more information and updates, please visit bostonplans.org. The Open Public Meeting Law requires that I notify the public that this meeting is being recorded. Please be aware that an audio and visual recording of this meeting is being made and broadcast by Boston City TV, which is a part of the City of Boston Office of Cable Communication at Xfinity Channel 26, RCN Channel 13, and Verizon Fios Channel 962. It's also being live streamed at boston.gov/cable. If there is anyone in the audience who's recording this meeting, I ask that you please identify yourself now. Okay, seeing none. We are going to start the meeting with a roll call. Ms. Bennett.
Here.
Mr. Shepard.
Present.
Mr. O'Malley.
Here.
Dr. Landsmark.
Present.
And the chair is present. Okay. So the BPDA board, as it's our annual meeting, will now hold the election of officers. May I have a nomination for the chair of the board?
I nominate my esteemed colleague, Priscilla Rojas, to be chair of the board.
And I gladly second.
Okay, thank you. Do I have to do the individual roll call or just say all? A roll call for a vote. Okay, roll call for a vote. Ms. Bennett?
Aye.
Dr. Landsmark?
Aye.
Mr. O'Malley?
Aye.
Mr. Shepard?
Aye.
And the motion passes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. May I ask for a nomination for the vice chair of the board? Actually, I'm just going to take that. Priscilla Rojas, nominate Raheem Shepard as vice chair.
And I second that nomination.
Okay, roll call for a vote. Ms. Bennett?
Aye.
Dr. Landsmark?
Aye.
Mr. O'Malley?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Motion passes. Congratulations, Mr. Vice Chair. Okay, now may I have a nomination for the treasurer of the board?
Madam Chair, I nominate the incomparable and financially responsible Kate Bennett to remain treasurer of the BPDA board.
You know, I second that nomination. Let's take a roll call. Dr. Landsmark?
Aye.
Mr. O'Malley?
Aye.
Mr. Shepard?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Motion passes. Congratulations, Kate, for remaining our treasurer. We thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
It's always a fun one. Item number 2, request authorization for the approval of the minutes of the January 15th, 2026 board meeting. A motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Motion passes. Item number 3, request authorization to issue an invitation for bids for the construction of the mail and bike room improvements project at 12 Channel Street within the Raymond L. Flynn Marine Park. Sandra.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board, Director Shen, Secretary Proyas. My name is Sandra Correa. I'm a program manager with the Capital Construction team, and I am excited to make my first appearance before you here today. We are requesting authorization to advertise and issue an invitation for bids pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 149, to procure a general contractor for the 12-channel mail and bike room project in the Raymond L. Flynn Marine Park. This is the first time that this matter's been brought before you. 12th Channel is a 9-story, mostly tenant-occupied building. This project seeks to fit out a much-needed proper mailroom with parcel lockers for small deliveries. It also seeks to create a dedicated code-compliant bike storage room with adjacent lockers and showers to accommodate a growing number of very courageous group of workers that bike to the building on a yearly basis. The bid package has been prepared by architectural firm Studio NA and will be advertised following the Commonwealth of Massachusetts requirement under Mass General Law, Chapter 149. After being brought before the board for approval, the construction contract will be awarded to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. The work is estimated to cost between $500,000 and $700,000, and it is included in fiscal year 26 capital budget. We anticipate returning to the board with a award recommendation in April. Therefore, we are requesting that the clerk be authorized to advertise and issue an invitation for bid on this project.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
If there are
Any
any-
questions or comments from the board? Okay, hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Great first presentation. Welcome. Item number 4, request authorization to issue a request for proposals for a licensed design consultant to provide assessment and design services for the 72-inch drain line on Fid Kennedy Avenue and the inflow and infiltration issues for the line servicing parcel W located at the Raymond L. Flynn Marine Park. Tyler.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Director Shen, Secretary Pulimus. For those of you who have not had the chance to formally introduce myself, my name is Tyler Marshall. I'm a project coordinator with the capital construction team. I'm excited to make my first appearance here today. We are requesting authorization to advertise and issue a request for proposal pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapters 30 to 39M. We're looking to procure a qualified civil engineer for our storm drain improvement project located in the Raymond L. Flynn Marine Park. This is the first time this matter has been brought before you. After the recent storm drain improvements inspection and assessment in the Marine Park, we are looking to have repairs in 2 specific locations. The first being the 72-inch storm drain pipe located at the west end of Fid Kennedy, and second, to address the inflow and infiltration near Parcel M at the Leader Bank Pavilion. We're moving forward with the first phase of this storm drain improvements while also working with the City of Boston to identify other issues to identify other improvements needed following the review of the assessment. The FY26 capital budget has includes a sufficient allocation for this work. We anticipate returning to the board with an award recommendation in April. Therefore, we are requesting that the clerk be authorized to advertise and issue a request for proposals for this project. Thank you. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them at this time.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? All right, hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thank you, Tyler, and great presentation. Welcome. Item number 5, personnel. Mike.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Madam Secretary, and Director Shen. We have 3 items for your consideration on the EDIC agenda with the exact details included in the board memos. We have 3 contracts. In the Administration Division, Samantha Vidal. In the Director's Office, Jacqueline Martinez and Natalie Wood. And that's it, and I'll answer any questions you have.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thanks, Mike. Okay, and now I need a motion to adjourn the EDIC meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. EDIC meeting is adjourned. Okay, let's move on to the next part. Thank you for joining the February 12th, 2026 Boston Redevelopment Authority Annual Board Meeting. At this time, the Boston Planning and Development Agency is hosting public meetings in a hybrid setting for the health, safety, and accessibility of Boston residents. Hybrid means that our board meetings are conducted in person at City Hall in our boardroom on the 9th floor and virtually via Zoom and Boston City TV at the same time. For more information and updates, visit bostonplans.org. The Open Public Meeting Law requires that I notify the public that this meeting is being recorded. Please be aware that an audio and visual recording of this meeting is being made and broadcast by Boston City TV, which is a part of the City of Boston Office of Cable Communications at Xfinity Channel 26, RCN Channel 13, and Verizon Fios Channel 962. It is also being live streamed at boston.gov/cable. Now, if there's anyone in the audience who's recording the meeting, I ask that you please kindly identify yourself now. Okay, seeing none. And also please note that demonstrations of approval or disapproval from members of the public are not permitted during the meeting. Okay, let's start with the roll call. Ms. Bennett,
Present.
Mr. Shepherd,
Present.
Mr. O'Malley,
Here.
Dr. Landsmark,
Present.
and the chair is present. Okay, so we will now hold the election for officers for the BPDA board. May I have a nomination for the chair of the board?
I would nominate my esteemed colleague Priscilla Rojas.
And I happily second.
Okay, let's see what happens. Let's take a roll call. Ms. Bennett,
Aye.
Dr. Landsmark.
Aye.
Mr. O'Malley.
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd.
Aye.
Okay, and the nomination is approved. I gladly accept.
And again, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. May I now have a nomination for vice chair? But I'm just going to go ahead and do it. So I nominate Raheem Shepherd as the vice chair.
I proudly second that nomination, Madam Chair.
All right, let's take a roll call. Ms. Bennett.
Aye.
Dr. Landsmark.
Aye.
Mr. O'Malley.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Motion passes. Congratulations, Mr. Vice Chair. And now may I have a nomination for the treasurer of the board?
In the spirit of consistency, Madam Chair, I proudly nominate the indubitable and financially responsible Kate Bennett to remain as treasurer of the BPDA board.
I too second that nomination. Let's take a roll call. Dr. Landsmark.
Aye.
Mr. O'Malley.
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Motion passes. Congratulations, Ms. Bennett. Thank you for serving as our treasurer.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, we have Counselor Durkin here.
And we do have Counselor Durkin here, so we are going to allow you to take the floor and give your testimony. Floor is
Thank you
yours.
so much, Chair Rojas, and congratulations to both your and Vice Chair Shepherd's reelection. Director Shen and members of the board, I have three items I'd like to comment on. First being Wentworth's IMP amendment. I would like to speak in support of this. The key feature of the amendment is the Pike Residence Hall, which will include approximately 964 student beds, enough to accommodate the entire first-year class. By consolidating the first-year student housing on campus, Wentworth will enhance its student experience, foster a strong sense of community, and relieve pressure on Boston's overburdened rental market. Wentworth is a great partner with my office. I know that these, as a city councilor, I need to, separate potentially what we're talking about here at the board from pilot agreements, but I am the chair of the new committee on pilot, and I want to make sure in the future that, that there's conversations additionally that need to happen with Wentworth regarding pilot. But I'm excited about this proposal. I want to thank Joanna Senna, who works with my team daily, and I also want to thank them for taking public safety seriously. They've recently hired someone that we work with directly on their campus police. That was an issue with their IMP last time, and they've resolved it since, so wanted to report that back to the board. The second I'd like to speak on is 154 Terrace Street. I'd like to be registered in non-opposition. They are changing, it's a notice of project change. They're changing 66 homeownership units to 65 rental units. I generally would be in support of such a change, but I just want to acknowledge that the proponent did not reach out to our office and we didn't have a direct conversation with them. So would just like for the planning department to acknowledge the role that district counselors play, and just want to make sure that anyone proposing such a change reach out to my office if they would like my support on projects. So I'd like to be registered in non-opposition on that one. On 1 Brigham Circle, I would like to be registered in support. They're doing a PDA amendment to permit clinic use. Generally, this was very supported in the neighborhood. There's a number of operational items that should continue to be coordinated, mostly with city departments around signal timing at Calumet Street, left turn access, and traffic flow. I'm going to continue that dialogue with appropriate offices and want to ensure that residents' voices in that process remain center of mind, and just want to thank the board for letting me go out of order and for all the work that you do day in and day out to promote economic vibrancy in our neighborhoods.
Thank you, Counselor. All right. We're going to go with item number 2, request authorization for the approval of the minutes of the January 15, 2026 board meeting. A motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
The opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Item number 3, request
Madam
authorization.
Chair, I'm just recusing on this one, just so you know.
Thank you, Ms. Bennett. Number 3, request authorization to consent and approve the assignment and assumption of the existing ground lease agreement between the Boston Redevelopment Authority, doing business as the Boston Planning and Development Agency, as landlord, and Tropical Melnia Holdings LLC as tenant to the intended tenant, Tropical Foods Real Estate Holdings LLC as tenant, to terminate the existing sublease between Tropical Melnia Holdings LLC as landlord and Tropical Phase 2 LLC as tenant. Consent and approve the assignment of the sublease between Tropical Phase 2 LLC as lessor and Tropical Foods International, Inc. to Tropical Foods Real Estate Holdings LLC, and to execute the First Amendment to the construction, operation, reciprocal easement, and restriction agreement by and among Tropical Melnia Holdings LLC, Madison Williams LLC, and the Massachusetts Department of Transportation, and the BPDA. Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board. Parcel 10 is located in Roxbury near Nubian Square, adjacent to Melnea Cass Boulevard and Washington Street. The Parcel 10 master developer completed Building A in 2015, which houses the Tropical Foods Supermarket, a locally owned grocery anchor providing culturally specific foods and produce to the community. Parcel 10 North is adjacent to the rest of Parcel 10, which includes some area that has been planned to be redeveloped into a mixed-use building, which came before you for an extension late last year. Tropical Foods has been in dispute with the other parties involved in Parcel 10 regarding alleged impacts and regarding the developments on the site. There has been progress regarding this lawsuit in that a new buyer is interested in creating an employee-owned organization to take over, which is what has led us to come before you today. The BPDA and Madison Tropical Market LLC, now Tropical Melnea Holdings LLC, executed the ground lease in 2013. Tropical Phase 2 LLC is both the sole member of Tropical Melnea Holdings and a subtenant under an existing sublease. Tropical Foods International Incorporated operates the supermarket under a sublease. Tropical Melnea Holdings, Madison Williams LLC, which is an affiliate of Madison Park CDC, MassDOT, and BPDA are parties to the Construction, Operation, Reciprocal Easement, and Restriction Agreement, or COREA, governing shared parking and related operational matters for Parcel 10 and 2101 Washington Street. To assist in an anticipated transfer of interest in the grocery store and settlement of the ongoing litigation, the following is recommended to occur, which will be subject to the closing of the new transaction in conjunction with the settlement discussed above. The board is asked to approve assignment and assumption of the ground lease from the existing tenant to Tropical Foods Real Estate Holdings LLC, termination of the existing sublease, and approval and consent to the assignment of the sublease between Tropical Foods Real Estate Holdings LLC and Tropical Foods International Incorporated. Tropical Foods International Incorporated, the subtenant, will become a wholly owned subsidiary of Tropical Foods Holding Company, a corporation that will be 100% owned by a newly formed employee stock ownership trust. This will mean that the employees of Tropical Foods International Incorporated will be the beneficial owners of the company. The proposed employee stock ownership plan, or ESOP, transition of Tropical Foods International Incorporated and Tropical Foods Holding Company will be financed and facilitated by Apis and Heritage Capital Partners, a private investment fund designed to create employee ownership opportunities throughout the U.S. for low to moderate income workers. The board is also asked to approve the requested First Amendment to the COREA with updates to shared parking and operational understandings. As part of the transaction, Tropical Melnea Holdings will settle pending litigation involving Madison Park Development Corporation and other parties, including the BPDA. These transactions maintain continuity of the Tropical Food Supermarket, preserving a key neighborhood food resource and supporting local small business operations and partnerships established since 2015, while allowing an employee-owned entity to operate the grocery store. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 4, request authorization to extend the final designation status of Nubian Ascend Partners LLC as redeveloper of the Blair Lot in the Nubian Square area of Roxbury for a period of 6 months until August 31st, 2026. Yoon.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board. The Blair Lot is a BPDA-owned site consisting of approximately 87,879 square feet of underutilized land between Washington Street, Harrison Ave, Palmer Street, and Eustis Street. The parcel was subject of an intensive community planning process through Plan Nubian Square and through subsequent site-specific community meetings. The disposition RFP for this site was released on November 20th, 2019. After the responses deadline in February 2020, and following several public meetings and community feedback through a project review committee, Nubian Ascends was tentatively designated for redevelopment of the site at the December 2020 BPDA board meeting. The proponent proposes to create approximately 389,280 gross square feet of mixed-use development, including affordable housing, parking garage, a lab training and office building, and a combined cultural hall and marketplace and culinary center. The proponent was awarded final designation status for the project in March 2023, and an extension for their final designation in August 2024 and 2025. During the past extension period, the proponent continued to seek additional sources of funding and advanced conversations with potential tenants. Most recently, the team has revisited the approach to the project's master plan and phasing to reflect the current market and funding conditions that are impacting many of the project's program components, mainly the lab training and office component. During this final destination extension, the proponent intends to refine their master plan and schedule in close coordination with the BPDA staff and advance a site remediation plan to utilize a project's MassWorks grant. This development is envisioned to be executed in phased construction with separate ground leases for each building. So for Nubian Ascents Partners LLC to maintain their destination status and receive ground leases for each site component, they're required to have the financing acquired, the ground lease is fully negotiated and ready for execution, and to be ready for construction commencement by the dates that are in the board memo. With that being said, I would like to request that the board authorize the final destination extension for a period of 6 months to Nubian Ascents Partners LLC for the redevelopment of the Blair lot. Thank you. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? All right, hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thank you, Yoon.
Thank you.
Item number 5, request authorization to extend tentative designation status to the Drucker Company Limited and enter into lease negotiations with the redeveloper to facilitate the long-term lease and redevelopment of the BPDA-owned Parcel 5 site located at 142 Shawmut Avenue in the South End Urban Renewal Area, project number Mass R-56 in the South End neighborhood of Boston for a period of 12 months until February 2027. Yoon.
Thank you again, Madam Chair and members of the board. 142 Shawmut Ave is a site of approximately 85,000 square feet located in the South End neighborhood. It is currently a vacant site adjacent to the recently completed Lucas condominium project at 136 Shawmut Avenue. So with the objective to create open green space for the community, the BPDA released a disposition RFP for the site in November 2020 after previous efforts in 2019 and 2020, which did not yield satisfactory responses. In January 2021, the BPDA received one proposal from the Drucker Company, who is also the proponent of redevelopment at the abutting 1033-1055 Washington Street, also known as the former Verizon building. Their proposal responded to the strong neighborhood support for a park-like public open space at this site. After thorough analysis and evaluation, BPDA staff recommended that the board award tentative designation status to the Drucker Company, which was authorized in the board meeting on January 18th, 2024. So since that time, Drucker Company has continued to advance the park design and negotiations with the BPDA regarding the terms of the extended ground lease. Terms of the ground lease. The proponent has been granted one tentative destination extension last year. Also, similar to Blair Lot, given the current market conditions impacting the proponent's office and lab development, which is really driving the project timeline, the team is requesting additional time to finalize those negotiations of the ground lease, secure necessary funding commitments, and complete the community process and park design reviews. So these conditions must be met before the team can be awarded final destination status and proceed to construction. So at this time, I would like to recommend extending the designation status of Drucker Company Limited for the redevelopment of 142 Shawmut Avenue.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board? All right, hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thank you, Yoon.
Thank you very much.
Item number 6, request authorization to award tentative designation to the Boston Food Forest Coalition for the sale of 82 Mascot Street as a part of a joint RFP issued by the Mayor's Office of Housing for Open Space in conjunction with the property at 301, 303, 305, and 307 Norfolk Street, owned by the City of Boston until February 28th, 2027. Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board. I'm here to recommend that tentative designation status be granted to Boston Food Forest Coalition, or BFFC, for the sale and redevelopment of 82 Mascot Street as part of a joint RFP issued by the Mayor's Office of Housing, or MOH, for open space, along with 4 MOH and City of Boston owned parcels at 301, 303, 305, and 307 Norfolk Street in the Dorchester neighborhood. 82 Mascot consists of approximately 4,321 square feet of vacant land and is approximately 131 feet to the west along Norfolk Street of the MOH parcels. In September 2025, MOH issued an RFP for open space on 82 Mascot and MOH's Norfolk sites. The objectives of the RFP emphasize community gathering space with edible plantings, beautification of and other improvements to the sites, programming for all ages, a comprehensive maintenance plan, and tree preservation and management. MOH and the BPDA received 1 proposal in response to the RFP, and BFFC's proposal was evaluated as highly advantageous. Next slide, please. At 82 Mascot Street, BFFC proposes an accessible open community space and food forest. The property will be an area where people in the community can gather outdoors, take in tranquil views among native plants and trees, and harvest and share food freely. Next slide, please. And here you can see BFFC's proposal for the Norfolk Street site, which also includes edible plants and a gathering space. Next slide. As a result of a comprehensive RFP process and evaluation, I'm here to recommend that BFFC be tentatively designated as the developer of 82 Mascot Street. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Okay, hearing and seeing none, motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, motion passes. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Item number 7, request authorization to extend the tentative designation status of and enter into lease negotiations with Powerhouse CNY LLC for the long-term lease and redevelopment of Building 108, property in the Charlestown Navy Yard on a portion of NY-1 in the Charlestown Urban Renewal Area, project number Mass R-55, for a period of 6 months until August 31st, 2026. Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board. We are requesting board approval to extend the tentative designation of Powerhouse CNY LLC for the development and long-term lease of Building 108 in the Charlestown Navy Yard. Building 108 was a vacant building of approximately 32,000 square feet that previously served as the central power plant of the Charlestown Navy Yard. The abatement and demolition of the former building was substantially completed in spring 2023. On February 11th, 2021, the board approved the tentative designation of Powerhouse CNY for the redevelopment of Building 108. The BPDA has extended the tentative designation status of Powerhouse CNY LLC since then. For the redevelopment, Powerhouse CNY has proposed a 97,000 square foot building with approximately 84,000 square feet of lab and R&D space, 1,700 square feet of cafe space, and 39 below-grade parking spaces. Since the last tentative designation extension, Powerhouse CNY LLC received BPDA board approval on September 18th, 2025 for the Article 80 large project. During the next tentative designation extension period, Powerhouse CNY will continue to pursue permanent financing and prospective tenants, continue design review with staff, and negotiate the terms and conditions of the long-term ground lease. Therefore, Planning Department staff recommend extending the tentative designation status. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? All right, hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, motion passes. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Item number 8, request authorization to issue an invitation for bids pursuant to MGLC 149 for the installation of building security systems for the China Trade Center located at 2 Boylston Street, Boston, Massachusetts, William.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, good afternoon. Here to request authorization to advertise a construction invitation for bids for the China Trade Building Security Project. This matter was last before you October of 2023. As a reminder, in the 6-story building, we're seeking to install access control devices, security cameras, especially around the perimeter, as well as all of the entrances to the building and the stairwells. The bid package was designed by our architect of record, CHA. The matter would be brought back before you once we have the lowest bidder, and I think we would be able to do that in April. We have an estimate of about $1 million, which is properly allocated in the current fiscal year 26 capital budget. So with that, we're requesting authorization to issue this invitation for construction bids. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thanks,
Very
William.
much.
Item number 9, request authorization to advertise and issue an invitation for bids for landscaping and maintenance services at BRA-owned properties in the downtown waterfront. Chris.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board, Madam Secretary, Director Shen. I'm before you today to ask permission to issue an invitation for bids entitled Downtown Waterfront Landscaping and Maintenance, which generally includes BRA-owned properties in the Central Wharf and Long Wharf areas of the city of Boston. They are considered the downtown waterfront properties. The scope of services outlined in the IFB will generally consist of furnishing all necessary labor, materials, equipment, transportation, supplies, and services for landscape and hardscape maintenance of the downtown waterfront properties. The IFB will be publicly advertised pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 30, including advertising with local newspapers, the BPDA's website, the state combine system, the state goods and services bulletin, and through other channels as appropriate, including affirmative marketing to small, local, and diverse businesses. The IFB will include all applicable wage requirements, and the resulting contract will be awarded to the most responsible and eligible bidder with the lowest total bid price. The cost is not expected to exceed $150,000 per year. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board? Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes.
Thank you
Thanks,
so much.
Chris. Okay, item number 10. This is an informational update about the Planning Academy.
So,
welcome.
thank you. Good
Caroline.
afternoon, Chair Rojas, board members, Director Shen, Secretary Polimas. My name is Caroline Felice Smith. I'm a senior urban designer with the Planning Department, and I am here to present Planning Academy. Slide. So Planning Academy will be an 8-session program for Boston residents to dig deeply into planning, design, and development in our city. Slide. It is born from the Design Vision Initiative, so it's part of the implementation process for that project. Slide. And we've just begun outreach this week, so applications are live until March 9th. So you might see these around town. Hopefully a few folks in the room have gotten emails about it. Slide. So why should you join Planning Academy? For residents, it's a great opportunity to meet others who are interested in building a better, stronger Boston that's home for everyone. It's also a chance to dig deeply into planning department processes, the tools we use, and how planning and development works in the city so that people can advocate for their communities with more power. Slide. The sessions will be taught using kind of 3 core components. So we will teach fundamentals through Boston case studies that are fairly contemporary, not shying away from tricky subjects and the complexity of them. We will do a lot of hands-on learning. So as people are building their knowledge around tools, they can put it straight into action because knowledge and action go together to make power. And then we will also involve guest speakers from within our department and from external, in particular affordable housing developers and people from the private sector. Slide. So these are just some examples of the kinds of materials we're making. Slide. We'll just roll through them. So we have case study materials, we have general information to build awareness about City Hall in totality. Slide. And then kind of fun games to play to get people's kind of hands in the dirt on the topics. Slide, please. So this is pretty small text, but a brief overview. The first 3 sessions will be an intro to planning, a way of level setting across the cohort. We will talk about kind of Planning 101, roles and responsibilities across the public, private, and civic sectors. We will dig into the role of values, opportunities, and constraints in our processes, the history of Boston, the way that history shapes our present, and a bit about visioning for the future and urban design. We then have 4 deep dive sessions, 2 that go pretty technically into zoning. So we kind of start people off with the basics, rolling through our processes, how zoning has changed, where community can have impact, how to even read the code, and then into contemporary initiatives like zoning reform and neighborhood housing. Weeks 6 and 7 go deeply into development, so we'll talk about municipal finance, how it relates to development, Article 80 processes, and speak with the local developer to talk about economic constraints that folks are facing in building. Affordable housing builds on that knowledge, so we'll dig into the tools we have available to build affordably, the initiatives and innovations we are making in the city towards those ends, and we will speak very candidly and openly with a guest speaker on the topic. And then week 8 is a celebration, so throughout the weeks we will be also doing some skill building for local advocates, so power mapping, theory of change, these sorts of things, and this will be their chance to present that project to the community, to city officials, to staff here, and we have an opportunity to put it up in the Leventhal for a long period of time at BPL to present it as kind of current Boston and what our communities are up to. Slide. So our sessions are broken into smaller chunks. They're about 2.5 hours. This is a long period of time, so we're trying to break it up into discussion periods, activities, and breaks. Slide. And in general, we are looking for people from kind of, you can just say the diversity in every way you can cross it. We are looking for folks from all over Boston, broad geographic diversity, background experiences, tenure in Boston, so longtime residents, folks new. We are holding 2 youth seats for people 16 to 24, and we are providing free childcare, dinner, and transit passes so that everyone can join. Slide, please. So we'll have 25 people in the first cohort. It will be meeting at Roxbury Community College for the first 7 sessions, 6 to 8:30 p.m., Wednesdays, April 29th to June 17th. And this is our kind of timeline of where we're at. So we've just started outreach. We will be doing applicant selection between March 9th and April 3rd. And then the academy runs late April to mid-June. Thank you. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Yeah, what is the expected size of the group of participants that you're looking for?
25.
25, okay.
And have you had any applicants yet, or this is just the outreach?
A lot. Yeah, I think we're up to about 65, and we're a few days in.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
So-
That's always the risk that you can't, so that's great to know. Will there be a stipend provided? I know childcare, dinner, anything for the
No
participants?
stipend, at least for this pilot.
Yeah.
But obviously providing free childcare, transit, and
Yeah, transit
dinner.
pass is great. Sounds fantastic. I wish you well. Look forward to hearing some of the results.
Thank you.
How are you going to evaluate the outcomes?
Yeah, so we're working with a great consultant team, Consult Layla, Reclaim Roxbury, and Rosa Herrero, and they're helping us specifically on the evaluation part. So they will be there at all the sessions, doing exit interviews, testing kind of learning objectives, and we are doing a lot of tracking and metric analysis to ensure we're kind of meeting our own objectives and the expectations of the people who have taken the course.
Okay. Well, this is just an informational report, so we're not voting on it, but we thank you for your presentation and wish you the best of luck in getting this. We can't wait to hear how it goes.
Great, thank you.
All right, thanks, Caroline. Okay, item number 11, request authorization to issue a certificate of completion for the successful completion of construction of the Parcel 12 project located in the Back Bay neighborhood pursuant to Section C.6 of the Corporation Agreement by and between BPDA and S&A P-12 Property LLC dated December 26, 2019. Certificate of completion, so no presentation. A motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, motion passes. Item number 12, request authorization to issue a certificate of completion for the successful completion of construction of the Alston Yards Building A project located in the Alston neighborhood pursuant to Section C.6 of the Cooperation Agreement by and between the BPDA and Alston Yards Phase A LLC dated August 23rd, 2021. It's a certificate of completion, so no presentation. A motion is in order.
So moved?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Item number 13, request authorization to approve the transfer of the 1734 through 1740 Washington Street property, parcel SE-72 in the South End Urban Renewal Project area from 1734 Washington Street Limited Partnership to the Pine Street Inn Incorporated, and to approve the Pine Street Inn's assumption of 2 promissory notes issued to the BRA by the original owner, and amend the interest rate and maturity date of such promissory notes, and to assign one of the promissory notes to the Mayor's Office of Housing. Amina.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Director Shen, and Madam Secretary. The item before you requests authorization related to the property located at 1734 to 1740 Washington Street within the South End Urban Renewal Project area. By way of background, the property was originally conveyed through a land disposition agreement in 1988 and included 31 single-room occupancy units and 1 manager's unit, with affordability restrictions at 50% and 80% of the area median income. After the compliance period for the LIHTC credit program ended, the tax credit investor exited the partnership. The current request allows Pine Street Inn to consolidate ownership, strengthen long-term financial stability, and maintain the property as permanently affordable housing. Extending the maturity dates and reducing the interest rate supports preservation goals and aligns with our commitment to long-term affordability. Assigning the Neighborhood Housing Trust note to the Mayor's Office of Housing will actually streamline ongoing oversight and unify the public financing under a coordinated preservation strategy. Staff recommend approval of the requested authorizations. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thanks, Amina. Item number 14, request authorization to enter into a memorandum of agreement with the Mayor's Office of Economic Opportunity and Inclusion for transfer of $250,000 in mitigation funds from PDA 146, 35 through 75 Morrissey Boulevard for the use in the Commercial Acquisition Assistance Program. Aaron.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Director Chen, and Secretary Prohimus. My name is Aaron Hallquist. I'm Manager for Developer Compliance. Also, I am joined by Filomena Falcucci of the Office of Economic Opportunity and Inclusion. She oversees the Commercial Acquisition and Assistance Program. We're here to request that the board allow us to enter into MOA with the Office of Economic Opportunity and Inclusion to facilitate the transfer of $250,000 in mitigation funds from PDA 146 3575 Morrissey Boulevard to the Commercial Acquisition Assistance Program. In connection with the zoning approval for the project located at 3575 Morrissey, the project proponent agreed to provide a mitigation payment in the amount of $250,000 to the BPDA Community Benefits Fund. The approved mitigation language provides that such funds shall be used to assist independent small local businesses in Dorchester with access to technical assistance, storefront improvements, neighborhood commercial, street beautification, and affordable commercial space, including but not limited to the Dorchester Avenue commercial corridor in the Columbia-Savin Hill neighborhood of Dorchester. Consistent with this requirement, BPDA, in consultation with OEOI, evaluated potential uses of the funds and identified deployment through the CAP as an appropriate and aligned mechanism to advance the stated mitigation intent. The board's approval is anticipated to apply to the allocation and transfer of the mitigation funds for use by OEOI through the CAP as memorialized in the MOA. Following such approval and transfer, the board approval is not anticipated or required for individual funding commitments or disbursements made by OEOI under CAP. OEOI shall administer and deploy the funds in accordance with this program guidelines, and the restrictions set forth herein, and shall report on the use of funds as provided in the MOA. OEOI and BPDA have been engaged, and by saying that, it's really, she and I have been talking about this for a while. We've been engaged in ongoing discussions about the development of the MOA. CAP is a City of Boston initiative administered by OEOI that supports underinvested small business owners in acquiring the commercial properties in which they operate, thereby promoting long-term affordability, commercial stability, and wealth-building opportunities. through consultation between BPDA and OEOI regarding the appropriate use of mitigation funds, the parties determined that CAP provides a clear, compliant, and effective vehicle to fulfill the mitigation objectives associated with the 3575 Morrissey Boulevard project. So with that, I'm happy to take any of your questions, as is Philomenia, who is here with me today.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? I just have a quick question. So have you already identified the people who will be using the funds, or that's?
We have begun like a soft outreach.
Sorry.
Sorry. We have begun like a soft outreach, so nothing particularly public facing. We have a website on the cityofboston.gov. But other than that, when we launch publicly, as we get all of our funds in order, we'll make sure to engage with ONS, with the neighborhood business managers, and with the Main Streets organizations to ensure that all of the neighborhoods get equal kind of access to the information. We have an intake form that it allows for anybody, anybody. I mean, you don't have to be a small business. You probably be filtered out pretty quickly, but anybody to apply. And then we have a whole level of kind of qualifications that they go through from there. But we have 46 businesses we've already spoken to. I want to say about a handful of them are in Dorchester. One is on Dorchester Ave, and we already have collected that business's financial information and are going through our pre-qualification process. So some of them have advanced forward, but not necessarily by design, just by, I think, demand.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right, hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thanks, Aaron. All right, item number 15. Mr. O'Malley? No.
No, it's the
This is, okay, got it. Item number 15, request authorization to issue a determination waiving further review pursuant to section.
No.
It's not, yeah. Request authorization to issue a determination waiving further review pursuant to Section 80D Institutional Master Plan Review of the Zoning Code for the proposed renewal and extension of the Tufts University Institutional Master Plan dated January 6, 2026. Extend the master plan for 5 years until February 12, 2031, and to take all related actions. Jason.
Thank you and good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Director Shen, and Secretary Polimis. My name is Jason Farrell, and I'm a project assistant in the Development Review Division. I'm here before you to discuss the proposed renewal and 5-year extension with no changes to the institutional master plan for Tufts University. During the 5-year term of this extension, Tufts plans to respond to the academic and institutional needs of the university, improve space utilization within existing building footprints, and maintain facilities to ensure ongoing commitment to high-quality education. Upon expiration of this proposed extension, Tufts plans to pursue a full 10-year institutional master plan. On January 6, 2026, the proponent filed an institutional master plan notification form for the proposed renewal and 5-year extension pursuant to Article 80D of the Code. While not required by the Code, the Planning Department held a public meeting for this filing at request of the public on January 26, 2026. The public comment period ended on February 6, 2026, and no public comments were received. That concludes the presentation for this item, but the Tufts team is available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board? I just wanted to get a little expansion on the continued community benefits section here in the memo. Can you just talk a little bit through that?
Continued community benefits in the memo?
Do we have a copy of the memo here?
No, I don't have the copy of the memo.
Could you?
I can read it.
Yeah.
All community benefits currently offered pursuant to the amended IMP will continue through the length of the renewed IMP.
Yes.
I just want to make sure I don't understand what that means.
Hi,
Hi.
good evening. Good to see you all. I'm Nupur Manani, Senior Deputy Director for Development Review, and happy to answer that question. What typically happens with this kind of an action, the 5-year extension and renewal, is that we essentially kick the can down the road on the expiration to allow the university to keep doing their business as usual, right? So the community benefits that Tufts committed to in the last 10-year IMP, many of which included working with the Chinatown community on sort of expanding access to their campus, working on a lot of other good neighbor agreements, that were codified will similarly be extended through the term of this extension. So we're not really talking about anything new. It's really just a reassurance to say that those commitments, while they were envisioned for 10 years, do not in fact expire. They will be continuing in that same form and shape for another 5.
For another 5 years. Okay, that makes perfect sense. Thank you for clarifying. Okay, any other questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thank you. Item number 16, request authorization to issue a certification of approval pursuant to Article 80E Small Project Review of the Zoning Code for the proposed construction of 33 fully affordable rental units, 8 car parking spaces, and 36 bicycle parking spaces located at 190 Bowden Street, AKA Hollins Park, and to take all related actions. Camille.
Thank you and good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Secretary Paulimis, and Director Shen. My name is Camille Platt-DaCosta, Senior Project Manager in the Development Review Division of the Planning Department, here before you tonight with an Article 80E small project located at 190 Bowden Street, located in the Dorchester neighborhood. On September 19th of 2025, the proponent submitted an application for small project review with the Planning Department pursuant to Article 80E of the Code. On November 3rd of 2025, the Planning Department hosted a virtual public meeting for the project. The public meeting was advertised in the local paper, a notice was posted on the Planning Department's calendar, and an email notification was sent out to all subscribers of the Planning Department's Dorchester email update list. The comment period was extended once, and it concluded on November 17th of 2025. If you go to the next slide, please. The proposed project will be a fully affordable new construction residential project consisting of 33 units of rental housing. The unit mix includes 11 one-bedroom units, 18 two-bedroom units, and 4 three-bedroom units. There will be a community room for residents with an adjoining roof deck within the building proposed. The project is subject to the updated Article 37 zoning and is net zero carbon compliant, will be passive house and enterprise green communities certifiable, ensuring holistic sustainability, and is an all-efficient electric building. Staff assisted the proposed project with the best practices. If you go to the next slide, I will now turn it over to the Planning Division. Thank you.
Thanks, Camille. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ariane. I'm one of the neighborhood planners for Dorchester, and I'm on the zoning team. As Camille previously mentioned, this proposed project is located in Dorchester, and more specifically in the Bowden Geneva area of the neighborhood. This area currently has both residential and mixed existing uses. There are nearby amenities such as a community center and the Bowden Street corridor offering local retail and services. This site is within half a mile of basically every transit option available in our city, including nearby blue bike stations, bus lines, rapid transit, and commuter rail. Next slide, please. This area, governed by Article 65 of the zoning code, is zoned for 3-family uses, and multifamily uses are forbidden. There are also dimensional regulations that the proposed design does not comply with, including front and rear yard minimum depths, FAR, and maximum height. The project exceeds the minimum ratio required for off-street parking for affordable housing projects. Taking into consideration the surrounding context and the historic character of the neighborhood, the Planning Department staff helped shape the proposal to ensure that the building dimensions are contextually appropriate with adequate open space and exposure to natural light and air for all residents. For these reasons, and for alignment with transit-oriented development planning and affordable housing goals, I recommend zoning relief of the dimensional and use violations of Article 65 of the zoning code. After this project receives board approval and subsequent zoning board of appeal approval of the required zoning relief, the proposed project will continue design review at the Planning Department. Thank you, and I'll now turn it over to the design team to talk about our project in more detail.
Thank you.
Thank you, Erin. Thank you, Board. My name is Megan Richard, and I'm a senior urban designer here with the Planning Department, working with the city, both our planning staff as well as our colleagues at the Mayor's Office of Housing. The project has recently made some changes that we're really excited about. The original project had an entrance that was set far back from the street and struggled with some of the tricky grades on the site, and a driveway that was underground to provide some underground parking. We believe this new project is more sensitive to the site and has a stronger site circulation pattern. for the residents. Now the building is oriented towards Bowdoin Street with its main entrance facing the street. The main entrance is accessed through a lush forecourt space. And along the street, there are 4 visitor bike racks, which will be installed. There are 2 existing street trees, which will be preserved, and a new street tree will be introduced to reinforce the streetscape. An existing curb cut will be retained and lead to a repaved surface parking lot. The program includes 8 vehicle parking spots, including 1 van-accessible ADA spot. This allows for the most existing tree canopy on the site to be preserved. Next slide. Thank you. One of the key changes, as I mentioned, that we made was to bring the main residential entrance to the street to engage with directly with Bowdoin Street, which helps to activate the streetscape and creates an opportunity to modulate the massing along Bowdoin Street into 2 bays to respond to the overall context. We will continue to work on the fenestration and materiality as we move forward through design development. Thank you. I'll turn it back to Camille.
Awesome. Well, thank you all. This concludes our presentation for this item, and the BPDA team, as well as their counsel, are available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board?
More of a comment than a question. Obviously, great project, affordable housing, multi-bedroom units, families will be able to stay, passive house standards, net zero carbon. Across the board, love it. You just have the dubious distinction being the first net zero building we're discussing today, where I saw in the comments that they're assessing solar PV on the roof and whether or not that makes sense. And I totally get it. It's not as easy as just throwing them on. We looked at putting them on this roof, and there were some real challenges back when I worked in a different capacity. I guess my point is, so support this project, proud to vote in favor of it shortly. Particularly when we make some needed allowances on height variations, I think we really need to push these developers to include as much on-site solar as they possibly can, because that's usually one of the sticking points, is that there'll be trees or other buildings that survive it. So I think this is great. If they can really make a good faith effort to try to find locations to build out some solar, it's only good for the residents of the building. It's only going to help address utility costs. And I say that environmentalists, we need to do a better job making the case and making the connection between energy affordability and sustainability, because they're almost always going in the same direction. We need to make sure that we can recapitalize those costs. So great project. Please do everything you can to get solar on it.
Okay, any additional questions or comments? All right, hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thank you. Item number 17, request authorization to enter into an affordable housing agreement in connection with the proposed creation of 2 IDP home ownership units located at 608 Gallivan Boulevard, and to take all related actions. Andy.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair, Director Shen, Secretary Polhemus, and members of the board. I'm Andy Feldman, Housing Policy Manager with the Mayor's Office of Housing. Tonight, I'm here to request your vote on an affordable housing agreement for the proposed development at 608 Gallivan Boulevard in Dorchester. This development proposes to build 12 condo units, and while it didn't trigger Article 80 due to its size, it did trigger IDP. Therefore, the vote in front of you tonight will allow the agency to enter into an agreement to dedicate 2 units under the IDP. Thank you, and happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, any questions or comments from the board? Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thank you, Andy. Item number 18.
I'll be recusing, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Bennett. Item number 18, request authorization to acknowledge completion of a certain review procedures with respect to Phase 4A and Phase 4B of the Mildred Haley Phase 1, Chapter 121A project. Adopt a second amendment to the report and decision for the master project approving the delegation and authority of Mildred Haley 121A Corporation with respect to such phases to Mildred Haley 4A 121A Limited Partnership and Mildred Haley 4B 121A Limited Partnership, respectively. And to execute one or more cooperation agreements, which will include a provision requiring compliance with the Boston Residents Job Policy regulatory agreements under Section 18C of Chapter 121A, and to take all related actions. John.
Excellent. Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board, Secretary Polhemus and Director Shen. My name is John Spillane. I'm an attorney in the Office of General Counsel. Before you today is a request for authorization to approve a second amendment to the report and decision and enter into a regulatory agreement with respect to phases 4A and 4B of the Mildred Haley Phase 1, Chapter 121A project, and acknowledgement of the completion of certain review procedures with respect to these phases, and authorization to enter into cooperation agreements and execute any and all documents which the director deems appropriate and necessary in connection with these phases. The Mildred Haley Phase 1, Chapter 121A projects relates to the approximately 6.9 acre portion of Mildred C. Haley Apartments, residential development in the Jamaica Plain neighborhood of Boston, and was a result of designation by the Boston Housing Authority through two separate RFP processes. The project consists of a one-to-one replacement of the existing public housing units, as well as new units at varying stepped income levels, for a total of approximately 673 units, with approximately 8,300 square feet of ground floor community commercial space in an approximately 6,800 square foot community center. The project was submitted as a master plan, which was anticipated to be developed into 7 phases, known as Phase 1A, 1B, Phase 2, Phase 3, Phase 4, Phase 5A, and Phase 5B, as was described in the project submission in the original Chapter 121A application. As further detailed in the project filing submitted by the Community Builders Incorporation to the authority on September 12, 2025, and as shown in the subdivision plan submitted with the Phase 4 application as defined below, Phase 4 will now be contemplated as 2 phases, Phase 4A and Phase 4B. To provide background, on April 15th, 2021, the authority voted to adopt a report and decision for the project. Such vote was approved by the mayor on April 24th, 2021, and the vote was approved and filed with the City Clerk of Boston on April 29th, 2021. The report and decision designated Mildred Haley 121A Corporation as the master developer for the project, but also contemplated that the applicant would delegate its authority with respect to each project component to special purpose 121A entities in the future. The report and decision approved the delegation of the applicant's authority with respect to Phase 1A and 1B, respectively, to affiliated Chapter 121A entities known as Mildred Haley 1A Limited Partnership and Mildred Haley 1B Limited Partnership. Currently, we're looking at the future project components that were previously contemplated for Phase 4A and 4B. As at the April 15th board meeting, in addition to the 121A delegation to the project, the board also voted for Article 80 approval for the project. However, it required certain review procedures for future phases 2 through 5B of the project. The Phase 4A developer, with respect to Phase 4A and 4B, have completed these applicable items. On January 21st, 2026, the applicant filed with the BPDA an application entitled Application for Approval of Delegation of 121A Authority and Supplemental Filing containing entity organizational documents. The Phase 4 application seeks the BPDA's approval of the delegation of the applicant's authority to develop Phase 4A of the project to the Phase 4A developer and Phase 4B of the project to the Phase 4B developer. Upon such delegations, the Phase 4A developer and Phase 4B developer will enter into their respective 6A contracts with the City of Boston and regulatory agreements with the authority. The proposed amendment to the report and decision effectuates the requested delegation incorporated in the amendments that are findings and determinations to authorize the applicant's delegation of such authority to the Phase 4A and 4B developer in accordance with the Acts of 1960, Chapter 652, Section 13 as amended. In addition, the amendment adjusts certain zoning waivers granted by the original report and decision to reflect minor design adjustments to Phase 4B and 4B specifically, modifying Item 3 on Appendix 10 of the report and decision to allow the building for the Phase 4B project to be approximately 84 feet in height, exceeding the maximum height limit originally contemplated in Table E of Article 55 in the original report and decision. The General Counsel of the BPDA has determined that the changes set forth in the Phase 4 application for delegation of authority in related matters pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 121A, do not collectively constitute a fundamental change in accordance with the Acts of 1960, Chapter 652, Section 13A, as amended, and a public hearing is therefore not required. It is thus the recommendation of staff to approve the Phase 4 application, a complete copy of which is enclosed as it provides sufficient evidence for the BPDA to make the findings and determinations necessary to approve the proposed delegation of the authority and to authorize the director of the BPDA to execute one or more cooperation agreements, which will include a provision requiring compliance with the BRJP, the regulatory agreement requirement under Section 18C of Chapter 121A, and any and all other documents that the director in his sole discretion deems appropriate and necessary, and upon terms and conditions determined to be in the best interest of the BPDA in connection with the project components. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? All right, hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thank you, John. Item number 19, request authorization to issue determination pursuant to Section 80A-6 of the zoning code in connection with the fourth notice of project change for the proposed construction of 65 residential rental units, including 8 IDP units and 24 car parking spaces located at 154 Terrace Street, and to issue a certification of compliance for Phase 2 of the revised project upon successful completion of Article 80B Large Project Review, and to enter into a cooperation agreement and an affordable rental housing agreement and restriction, and to take all related actions. Stephen.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Madam Secretary, and Director Shen. My name is Stephen Harvey, and I'm a Senior Project Manager at the Planning Department, and I want to thank you for your time today. The project I bring before you today is 154 Terrace Street, located in Boston's Mission Hill neighborhood. This project last appeared and was approved by the board on October 14, 2021. The former proponent, Wind Development, requested a height increase from 6 stories to 7 stories. The 2021 NPC approval was the third NPC approval for this residential proposal. Originally, this project was part of a much larger development that was approved by the board on January 26, 2006. Apologies. The project was later broken up into 2 phases, revised and reintroduced. Phase 1 gained board approval on July 12, 2008, and completed construction on Phase 1 in 2011. The proposal I bring before you today is the 4th MPC proposal for Phase 2 of the project. Under new ownership, the proponent, Joe Federico, is now requesting to reduce the building height from 7 stories to 6 stories, as well as change the unit programming from condominium to rental. The new proponent filed his NPC request on December 9, 2025, held a virtual public meeting for the NPC on February 3, 2026, and the comment period ended on February 6, 2026. The NPC filing and virtual public meeting was advertised online and via email. With that said, I'd like to turn it over to my colleague, Andrew Plum. Andrew is the assigned planner for the project. He will briefly explain the planning context for the project. Once Andrew has completed his part of the presentation, Andrew, the proponent, and I will answer questions put forward by the board. Thank you once again for your time today.
Thank you, Stephen. As Stephen said, my name is Andrew Plum. I'm the planner assigned to this project. Phase 2 of the revised project is located within a local industrial sub-district in the Mission Hill neighborhood district. Historically, Terrace Street was an industrial area because of its close proximity to the Stony Brook and the freight railroad. Today, Terrace Street is a combination of residential, vacant land, and light industrial uses on the boundary between the residential part of Mission Hill to the west and the rail line to the east. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Thank you. The industrial zoning is inconsistent with the residential uses on Terrace Street and has not been updated to match the evolution of the MBTA orange line or changes in the land use pattern. The project will not require zoning relief because it will not increase the degree of nonconformity previously proposed. Staff note that zoning relief is appropriate due to the proposed project's consistency with the uses and densities found on similar lots with local industrial zoning on this block of Terrace Street. I will now turn it back to Stephen. Thank you.
Thank you once again for your time today, and that completes our presentation.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board?
Could you speak to any issues of parking that have come up, particularly given that Terrace Street is a narrow and very heavily trafficked street with already limited parking?
Yeah, I can speak to that. Originally, this project was approved back in 2011, so the site that is currently being used for parking was always envisioned to hold this A development. We understand the need for additional parking on the street, and working with the Boston Transportation team and our transportation team, they're envisioning improvements on the roadway. The proponent has contributed funds to the transportation department to allow this to occur. Hopefully in the future, they would allow widening of the street to potentially allow more an improvement on the industrial, the current industrial use of the street or setup of the street.
The proponent has not set forth specific plans that they intend to pursue on parking.
Not for, only for the...
Stephen, he's on. Joe Frederico's on.
Joe, if you want to go into...
Hello, everyone. I'm Joe Federico. I'm the developer for the project. As far as parking, are you referring to the parking, the on-site parking?
I'm referring to both the on-site parking and any accommodations that need to be made on Terrace Street itself, which is a very narrow street.
So as far as the on-site parking, we are going to be providing 24 on-site parking spaces on a ground floor garage accessible through Terrace Street. There is no parking, public parking on this side of Terrace Street. There are parking spaces on the opposite side of Terrace. So we are not removing any parking that's currently on the street, but we are adding 24 off-site parking spaces.
Through the chair, just to add with the parking, who currently parks in the parking lot that exists now?
So sure.
Okay, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, the current parking lot there is for the renters at 166 Terrace. 166 Terrace, which was phase one of this development, is made up of both condo owners and renters. The condo owners have deeded parking spaces under 166 in their enclosed garage, and the exterior surface spaces are for the renters of that building.
So, through the chair, now both developments will share the existing 24, or would it be just solely to 154 Terrace?
Those 24 parking spaces would be solely for the 154 Terrace building.
Thank you. And Councilor Durkin was present early in the meeting, and was there any reason for not reaching out to the city councilors for your area for the project change?
There was no reason. That was a complete oversight on my part, and I take full responsibility for that. And I apologize for not reaching out to the city councilor to notify her of this NPC.
Well, Joe will definitely meet with the counselor before going to the ZBA for arbitration. So I can definitely work with him on setting that up. I met with the counselor and their team on several occasions to discuss the project.
Thank you. Thank you both. Thank you, Steve.
Could you also elaborate on whatever community engagement process was pursued with this development?
So the MPC process that we have for this project was what we call an expedited MPC. However, the councilor requested a meeting. So because of the changes that the proponent was seeking, they're not needing to get ZBA approval because they were approved previously. He'll just need to go to the arbiters to get approval. It gives the option whether the councilor or elected officials would like to have the meeting or not. Speaking with the councilor, she felt that because the project has such a long history, that it was appropriate to meet with the community. And so we conducted a public meeting where we discussed the project with the community. Understandably, a lot of the community members were unaware of that Wynn had sold the property and that it was being developed, or that it was hoping to be developed by this new developer. So, we communicated and tried our best to be as polite and listen to the concerns of the community. And in the board memo, we tried our best to reflect some of the concerns that they have. Right now, the proponent doesn't necessarily, the proponent is working with 166, 164 to continue to allow parking. Wynn has extended the lease for a month, and the proponent is willing to extend that up until he is capable of doing the construction on the site. So he's been working the best way that he can with the community on this change that occurred.
And speaking of construction, where will the staging for this project take place?
Joe, would you like to take that on?
Yes. So this is going to be a podium-style building. So the first floor would be steel, and then 5 levels of wood above. Typically, in these kind of buildings, we've always used the under the podium as the staging for lumber and for materials. We have like roughly 12 feet in height from the concrete slab grade to the underside of the steel deck, which is sufficient height to get equipment in and out of there and move material that we keep under the building for storage as far as accessibility.
Also, as I'm sure you know, ISD requires a construction management plan, so we'll do our best not to interfere, or the proponent will do his best not to interfere with traffic on the street. As you stated, it's already a tight squeeze as it is.
I use this street twice a day. It's a very narrow street with very high volume of traffic, very high. And I received some concerns from neighbors about traffic and parking, particularly because of the way Terrace Street ends in essentially a very sharp right turn. That most vehicles take at a fairly high speed. And I'm a little concerned about the provisions that the proponent here may have made to address what is certain to be major traffic congestion, particularly when Roxbury Community College changes its classes and students use that street very heavily. And I just didn't see anything in what we've put forward here that addresses the issue of traffic and parking with the addition of this many units.
Hi, Chair Rojas, members of the board, Ted Schwartzberg, Assistant Deputy Director for Planning Review, and to follow up on your comments about traffic and parking, that this would require, or this is under the parking ratio that's required by zoning. but it is consistent with BTD's off-street parking guidelines, which recommend 0 to 1 space per unit here. And I certainly appreciate the point about the dimension of the street. And I remember when I first started working as a planner here, this was all industrial uses. And as my colleague Andrew noted, this slowly has changed over time. And one by one, for example, the former pickle factory that was right next door, now residential. And I know I can't speak for my colleagues on the 7th floor, but I know that this is on BTD's long-term list to study, but this is not in their immediate capital plans. And when we were reviewing it, our inclination was to not put more cars into the street through the development. So by following BTD guidelines, those are derived from the transit and walk resources. And in the course of our review, we thought that it would be detrimental to the street in its current state to bring more vehicles in through off-street parking, and by reducing supply of parking off-street, we would reduce demand for on-street travel. So that was the logic that informed the staff review about putting hopefully fewer cars into the neighborhood relative per unit with this new phase of the project. Hopefully that helps to clarify.
Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Any additional questions or comments? All right, hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
And the ayes have it. Motion passes. Thank you, Stephen. Item number 22, we have contractual payments. I need a motion to pay our bills.
I move that we pay our bills.
I second that motion.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Please pay the bills. And we are going to take a break. So the next couple items don't start until the public hearing at 5:30. So we will take a break until 5:30 and see you back for the last couple of agenda items. Thank you.